Good morning, my name is Catherine McKissick. I'm a biology teacher and a junior science teacher at Carmel College.
I'm Emma and I'm a Year 9 student at Carmel College.
I'm Bex and I'm a Year 9 BYOD student.
Carmel decided to go BYOD last year. We floated the idea and looked at it. We set up a focus group to explore the idea further and look at the benefits and the difficulties. The focus group was made up of one staff member from each department, and we came together fortnightly and talked about things we'd discovered. We each had an iPad and kind of set ourselves little tasks each time, like one person might look at how we can use Pinterest in the classroom, someone else may have looked at how we can use iCloud. And at the end of a few meetings we decided we would really like to start getting some content up onto some sort of form for the students. After more discussion we decided we would go with Google. We each built ourselves a Google website, and our focus for most of this year has been to get that content onto Google. We then of course discovered that students can't edit a Google website, so in terms of worksheets we had to come up with another idea. So we came up with, or we decided to go with Google Documents. So when there's a worksheet to be done, so for example we might teach photosynthesis, and then one part of the website they can just click on it and it opens up in a Google document that the students will just save into their own work and edit that. So how's that been going for you guys?
Well, it's a lot easier than having to use the books.
Why's that?
Because, well, I don't know, you find that it's a lot more organised and, you know.
Yeah,
What do you think?
it's like easier to access, like you can access it at home and like it's right there if you need to study for a test.
The other thing I found sometimes in the classroom, and students might ask me a question that I think they could look up for themselves, and in days gone by we would have to have already booked the computer room or something like this, whereas now you have an iPad right in front of you, you can look it up. Is that sort of thing happening?
Yeah. And also I forgot to say this before, but with books and iPads, you're not going to really forget your iPad, sometimes you forget your books.
That's true.
And yeah, so you're always going to have your work with you.
There hasn't really been an issue with students not having it charged. It just doesn't seem to happen. Why is that? Why do you never come to school with it uncharged?
It's like becoming a routine at night. You just before you go to sleep, you just put it in the charger and it charges overnight. It's fine.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah, and if I forget to charge it, usually it still has about like 70%, no, not 70, like half the battery from the other day.
You never get through a day?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can do it at school and it's normally okay to feel just like a lesson and then you just turn it off.
In terms of the structure behind it, the school is wireless. We have been undergoing a renovation building program, so that's still a work in progress. The science department is wireless, which is great for us. We do have ultra-fast broadband, and as I said, we've decided to go with Google in terms of getting our content on a website, a Google website, which all the students have Gmail addresses, so they have automatic logons to each of those websites. And the interactive part of the website opens up as a Google document. In terms of storage, we kind of trialled a whole lot of things. We talked a lot with our classes as to how we could make that work. And each student has a folder called Science. And inside Science it might have a plants folder, what else do we do? Skills folder, energy. And then I discovered I had a whole lot of, and they shared that folder with me. So anything inside their folder would have all of their science work, so I can automatically, don't have to ask for sharing rights, just go and mark their work, have a look at it, comment on it, for example. And in my folder, I might have Year 9E Science folder, Year 9F Science folder, Year 12 Bio, for example, and I can just open those and have a look at all the girls' work. In terms of the workload, it's obviously a noticeable increase in terms of getting it set up. But when I look back at what we've achieved this year, all of my Year 9 stuff from Term 1 and Term 2 is online. So next year I imagine it'll just be a question of fine-tuning that, maybe tweaking it, finding some extra things, etc. So all of those video clips that you might show a class and they say, can you email that to me? It's already on the website, so they can access that anytime they want. Or if I forget, which clip of YouTube I showed, no, I don't forget because it's on the website. So I'm expecting the workload to decrease significantly next year. In terms of the working workload, that's great. It's available all the time. As long as I have my iPad with me, I can log on, look in shared folders of Emma or Bex and just have a little look at their work and comment on it, and they may or may not get a notification, depending if that's turned on or not, as to the fact I've commented on their work. In terms of cost, I believe the device was added on to each student's stationery. We didn't supply them, they went out and purchased their own device of their choosing. Tell me about how you chose, what you wanted to choose. iPads, tablets, what have you got?
Well, on the thing when it said BYOD, the notice when it first came out, it recommended the iPads, and then we looked at that, and then we looked at a tablet, and Mum thought that an iPad would be a lot easier to use, and then we were looking at which one, and then we decided basically and at this time it was only iPad 3 that was out, and Mum said that the only difference between the iPad 2 and 3 was the camera, so we just got the iPad 2 because it was cheaper, and it still works well.
And the 2's got a camera, it's just not such quite good quality?
Yeah.
Great. Do you use the camera much?
Yeah, we use it for school stuff, quite like at the moment we're using a lot in tech and like for testing proof, and I use it, it's mostly for home stuff, but I still do use it for school.
So you take photo of something at school?
Yeah, like for work, if we have like a worksheet that we have to fill in, then you can take a picture and then you can download an app where you can actually write on the picture.
This sounds nice. What about the actual chain photos, like if you're out on a field trip? I see you went on a field trip last week, took some photos?
Yeah, so we basically took lots of videos and photos and we put them into iMovie and made a documentary on what we learned on the RE trip.
Excellent. Okay, what about you? What sort of device did you buy and why did you choose it?
Well, I already had an Apple MacBook, but when I first came to school I just thought it would be fine, but I found that it was really heavy to carry around. And so I told my mum this, and then so my mum and dad decided that, because I had told them that most girls at Carmel had an iPad, and I thought it would be easier to go with one else so there wasn't so much complications. Then when I got my iPad, it was a lot easier to carry around. It could fit in my backpack, and I didn't have to be so different from everyone else, so it was just easier. Cause if I didn't know what I was doing, I could just ask them how they did it, and I prefer the iPad.
I think the majority of the class have got iPads, which make it easy, because if I'm taking roll and someone in the class can't get on for some particular reason, the rest of the class, someone can help them. Whereas if you've got some unusual device,
like a tablet, and when it sends them notes or something.
you're pretty much on your own, aren't you?
No one knows how to use them with iPads. Everyone knows, or there's always at least one person that knows how to work them really well.
With the tablet, actually, I found that at the beginning of the year, a lot of girls with tablets or something different couldn't connect to the wireless, but with iPads they always connected.
So if you could choose all over again, would you choose the iPad again?
Yeah.
You both would. And the keyboard, you've got a keyboard with your iPad?
Yeah, I don't.
Why have you got one?
Well, at first, I didn't really think about it at first, and my mum, but we both decided that it'd be really easy with a keyboard, and it is. Like when I'm writing up something for English or something, it's really quick. Like it's a lot quicker than typing on the screen. And sometimes, like there's that little like freeze moment for like a second, and it gets annoying because then but then when I'm just typing up quick things like filling in things, I don't really need the keyboard and stuff. So.
What about in terms of physically keeping your iPad safe from damage? Does the keyboard help there? Is it a cover?
Well, yeah, it's a cover, but I also have a case as well, and then
So why did you decide not to go for keyboard?
Well, I didn't think it was necessary because I can type perfectly fine just on the iPad, and I've never really needed it because I can, like I said, I can type fine.
And what do you do to physically protect your iPad from damage or scratch or drop damage?
Well, I have a case, and so far it's really good. I haven't cracked the screen at all.
And in terms of keeping it safe from theft or anything like that, has that been an issue at school with the expensive device?
No, especially in year 9 because everyone else has an iPad, so there's no real worry about whether someone's going to steal it, but you just keep it, you don't really part with it really.
And you know that it's like, well, you know that it's like really, you probably wouldn't get another one if it broke, so I was lucky that mine was under warrant when it broke, so.
So you've got it in your bag, and your bag is pretty much with you.
Yeah, and plus like in mornings and nights we still play on it.
So what about PE? What do you do during PE with your iPad?
In the locker rooms and
They're locked, so they're safe.
yeah.
Right, now in terms of support for the staff learning iPads, our BYOD group was a great source of support for each other. We had our regular meetings, we could share ideas, share difficulties, and someone could usually solve them. We would email each other a lot. There is quite a lot of PD available when you start looking for it. Carmel's a member of the NEAL group, that's Northern Educational Access Loop. They hold breakfast, social events, things like that. You can go along and either share your stuff or look at events that other people are sharing. I pretty much find I haven't needed a lot of professional development support, because if there's something I can't do, there's generally someone in my year 9 class who can do it and will show me. And the important thing we found was to get a dongle so we could connect our iPads up, or say it was Bex who knew how to do something I couldn't do. She would put it on the data projector screen and the whole class could watch what Bex was doing, and so she would teach the whole class. Beginning of the year it was just things like how do you take a photo and then insert it into your document, and someone showed us. So a lot of it is we've been teaching amongst ourselves. I think that would be fair to say.
Yeah, because it feels good because you're learning how to do things, and you feel like, especially these days, technology is everything, and so we're learning how to do things for the future, and it's very keeping up.
It's true. We amongst ourselves talked about the negatives of going BYOD, and it's pretty much the only time it's a difficulty is if the internet goes down, because we are so dependent on the internet. That's not a huge problem, it doesn't seem to happen that often, so it's not a biggie for us. The positives, I think, are for me organising my content onto a website, having able to find things instantly, and if there's something I think perhaps I haven't taught that well, instead of having a paper booklet, I can amend my website or add to my website, and the next day just, girls has a little bit more information or questions, or develop an idea a little bit further, and it's all there the very next day. What would be the positives and negatives for you?
It's basically the same as yours. It's right there, everything for the positives, and the negative is it's a little bit frustrating when the internet goes down, but it's normally up pretty quickly, and it's not that often, and we still have work. Like, we have a good balance of technology and paperwork, so if it goes down then the teacher normally has a backup plan. It's fine.
Pretty good. Emma, what about you? Positives, negatives?
Pretty much the same as her, but I'd also add to the positives that with a book, if you say when you're running out of space in a book, if you're like me and you kind of don't realise until you're actually at the end, and then it might take you a few days before you can actually get a new one, and then all your work that you do over a few days where you didn't have the book is all over the place.
That's paper in the bottom of your bag?
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much. All ripped up and...
Yeah, I find a lot of it's can't find things, or of course I don't have the students anymore coming to me and saying they've lost their book of notes, do I have a spare? So another one is the massive decrease we had in photocopying. Because the paper we were going through was huge, so that's gone. Is there any other comments you'd like to make? Anything else you'd like to say?
I think we've addressed everything.